Good morning, students. I extend my warm greetings as we start the journey of another academic year. Each one of you are fearfully and wonderfully made according to God's plan and bestowed with many talents. I pray that God bless you with His concentration, understanding, wisdom, and good health to be successful. Wishing you all the very best. Today we are going to discuss about the first chapter in physical chemistry, solid state. We know that matter exists in three states: solids, liquids, gases. We use different types of solids in our everyday life. We use metals, wood, plastic, etc. for various applications in our daily life. Understanding the relation between the structure and properties helps in the discovery of many types of solid materials. In this chapter, we are going to study about the characteristics of solids, classification, structure, properties, and crystal defects and the significance. Now let us see the general characteristics of solids. Solids have definite shape and volume. When I say this is a cuboid, it has got a definite shape. And when I say the volume is 1 liter, that means its capacity is it can hold a liquid or solid liquid of 1 liter. Solids are rigid and incompressible. We know that the atoms in solids are very closely packed with each other, and on applying pressure, there is no change in the volume or shape. But whereas in the cases of gases and liquids, when I increase pressure, there is a decrease in the volume. So we say that solids are rigid and incompressible. Next, solids have strong cohesive forces. As we know that the atoms are very closely packed, each molecule exerts a force on the neighboring molecules, and therefore that is why they have the rigid or definite shape. The next one, solids have fixed positions and can vibrate only in their mean positions. The molecules are tightly packed. So if at all they have to vibrate, they can vibrate only in their position. If this is the mean position, they can only in this small space they can vibrate. And they have short interatomic or ionic distances. If you take this as the radius of this atom and this atom, they have very small interatomic or ionic distances. So these are the characteristics of solids. Now let us see how solids are classified. Solids are broadly classified as amorphous solids and crystalline solids. Examples of amorphous solid being glass, rubber, etc. Crystalline solids have definite shape and they are further classified as ionic solids. Example, sodium chloride, which is completely made up of ions like Na plus and Cl minus. Covalent solids, the atoms are joined together by covalent bonds formed by sharing of electrons. Example, silica, diamond, etc. Molecular solid examples are naphthalene, anthracene, etc. Metallic crystals, of course, we know all the metals like gold, silver, aluminium, copper are all examples of metallic crystals. And atomic solids, rare gases like xenon, argon, neon, which when they are frozen and exist as solids, then they are called as atomic solids. Let us see the differences between crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids have long range orderly arrangement of molecules or ions or whatever it is in the crystal lattice. But whereas amorphous solids have short range order. Example, we are going to see quartz and silica. The atoms are arranged in a regular fashion and the same orderly arrangement extends however big the crystal is or throughout the crystal lattice. That is said to be long range order. But in the case of amorphous solids, you can see there is no regular arrangement of atoms here. The sizes of the molecules or anything vary, and this there is no regular arrangement. If at all there is a regular arrangement, it exists only to 1 or 2 centimeters or even millimeters, a very small distance only they have the orderly arrangement. That is why we say they have short range order. Because of the long range arrangement, crystalline solids have definite shape, but whereas amorphous solids have irregular shape. And because of this, they are called crystalline solids are considered as true solids, whereas amorphous solids are considered as pseudo solids or supercooled liquids. Examples being glass, rubber, etc. Going to see the difference in melting points. Crystalline solids have a sharp melting point, whereas amorphous solids gradually soften over a range of temperature. Now let us look at this melting point graphs, melting curves. This is the graph of a crystalline solid. I take the solid and I heat it, and on heating, as temperature increases, it begins to melt, and at this point it starts melting. If this is a melting point, it starts, let me say it is 30 degrees Celsius. It starts melting, and this temperature remains a constant till all the solid which I have taken has melted, and only when it becomes liquid, again as I increase the temperature, the curve increases. So the sharp temperature at which the solid melts and becomes a liquid is called as a melting point. All crystalline solids have a sharp melting point. Now let us see the graph for amorphous solid. Glass. I have taken glass here. I take glass and I heat it. We are going to consider only this graph. And as I keep on heating, it becomes soft and the solid becomes a liquid. There is no sharp change in the curve. Instead, I have a range of temperature. Here it becomes soft, and approximately here the solid has completely become a liquid. So I have a range of temperature over which glass melts. Anything in between can be the definite melting point. So that is why we say crystalline solids have a sharp melting point, but amorphous solids gradually soften over a range of temperature. They don't have fixed melting point. The next we are going to see is heat of fusion. Crystalline solids have definite heat of fusion, but amorphous solids do not have. Let me explain with the graph. Gallium. The melting point of gallium is 30 degrees Celsius. So I take gallium and I start heating it. And as the temperature increases till 30, I am heating it. That means I am supplying heat energy. I need to give it a definite amount of energy for it to reach 30 degrees Celsius and melt. So, all crystalline solids absorb a definite amount of heat and then melt. So, they have definite heat of fusion, but amorphous solids do not have a definite heat of fusion. The next difference between solids and crystalline solids and amorphous solids is crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature, but whereas amorphous solids are isotropic. What do we mean by isotropy and anisotropy? In isotropic solids, the physical properties are the same in all directions. Melting point, refractive index, whatever be the physical property we measure, in any direction it remains the same. But whereas anisotropy means the physical properties vary according to the direction in which they are measured. Now let us look at the example here. This is an example of crystalline solid, and the hollow spheres, let them take them to be positively charged and the solid spheres to be negatively charged. I am measuring a physical property, say for example refractive index, along two directions, one along AB and the other along CD. Now let us look at the arrangement of molecules along the line CD. Along CD, I have a positive and a negative positive and a negative in alternate position. Even across the line, I have a positive, negative, positive, positive, negative, positive, negative. So the positive and the negative ions are arranged in an orderly manner along the line. So whatever value physical property I measure is going to be a different, will have a definite value along the line CD. Now let me see, I am measuring the same physical property along the line AB. Now let us look at the arrangement of ions on both the directions. On one side I have all the positive ions, on the other side I have all the negative ions. So the physical property measured along this line is going to be different. So inside a crystalline lattice, whatever be the physical property I measure, it will vary in the different direction I measure them, because the atoms or ions are arranged differently on either sides. Now this is an amorphous solid. The atoms and molecules or ions, there is no regular arrangement. In any direction I measure the physical property, it is going to be the same. Then it is called as isotropy. So examples of crystalline solids, as you already saw, we can have quartz, sodium chloride, all are ionic crystals which we use in the lab. Ionic salts are all crystalline solids. Amorphous solids, examples glass, plastic, rubber, etc. Let us recall what we learned today. We learned about solids and the characteristics of solids. Now let us quickly go through them. Solids, we learned that solids have definite mass, volume and shape. Solids have short intermolecular distances because they're closely packed. They have strong intermolecular forces or cohesive forces. They are rigid and incompressible. Next, we saw how the solids are classified. The two broad classifications, crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Examples of amorphous solids being glass and rubber. Crystalline solids are classified as ionic solids, covalent crystals, molecular crystals, metallic crystals, and atomic crystals. And finally, we saw the differences between crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids have long range order, they have definite shape, they are generally solids and are anisotropic in nature. They are true solids, they have definite heat of fusion, and they have sharp melting points. But whereas amorphous solids, they have short range order, irregular in shape, they are isotropic, they are considered as pseudo-solids or supercool liquids. They do not have definite heat of fusion, and they gradually soften over a range of temperature. Thank you, students. Revise the lesson in the text. Take up the Kahoot. Answer the questions in the assignment and enjoy learning.